Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Welcome to our video presentation. We are from Group 7, and today we are going to talk about politeness and interaction. But before we get into the material, let me first introduce our members. So we have Nurqalbi, and then me, Yuniarsih Azizah, and then we have Sulfitriani L. Without wasting any more time, let's get into the first material. So what is politeness? Politeness is a system of interpersonal relations designed to facilitate interaction by minimizing the potential for conflict and confrontation inherent in all human interchange. Brown and Levinson in 1978 suggest that the need to be polite is common to all cultures. In a common sense, being polite, showing good manners and consideration for another people. Example, open the door for a lady, give your seat to an elderly person or pregnant woman in public transportation. Meanwhile, linguistic politeness is the way people choose to speak and how the hearers react to their speech. Politeness in an interaction can be defined as the means employed to show awareness of another person's face. In this sense, politeness can be accomplished in situations of social distance or closeness. There are two types, showing awareness for another person's face when that other seems social distance is often described in terms of respect of difference. And then showing the equivalent awareness when the other is socially closeness is often described in terms of friendliness or solidarity. Next, we have phase ones. I give to Sulfitriani.
Okay,
Time is yours.
Okay, thanks for the time. Phase ones are defined in two ways. On the one hand, they refer to a person's desire to be accepted and approved of in a certain group, and on the other hand, to the appreciation of the self-image by others. And people generally behave as if their expectation concerning their public self-image or their phase ones will be respect. If a speaker says something that represents a threat to another individual expectation regarding self-image, it's described as a face-threatening act. And then the speaker can say something to lessen the possible threat is called face-saving act. Next. Okay, this is about face-threatening act. For example, give me that. A direct speech act can give the impression that you have a social power over the other person. And then face-saving act. Can you give me that? And an indirect speech act in the form of a question remove the assumption of power. Thank you. I will back to the moderator.
Thank you, Sulfitriani. Then I will explain about the negative and positive phase. People have two phases. First is negative phase, is the need to be independent, to have freedom of action and not to be imposed on by others. Meanwhile, positive phase is the need to be accepted, even liked by others, to be treated as a member of the same group, and to know that his or her wants are shared by others. Next, Nurqalbi, we are going to explain about it. Time is yours.
Okay, thanks for the time that has given to me. So the next material, the difference in needs between positive and negative phase. First, in negative phase, the need to be independent and free. For example, I'm sorry to bother you. And the next, I know you're busy. This is appeal to negative phase. And the second is positive phase. The need to be connect and a member of the group. For the example, let's do it together. And the next, you and I have the same problem. This is appeal to positive phase. Okay, next. The next material is self and other, say nothing. Many people seems to prepare to have their need recognized by other without having to express those means in language. For example, you arrive at an important lecture, pull out your notebook to take notes, but discover that you don't have anything to write with. You think that the person sitting next to you may provide the solution. And in this scenario, you're going to be self and other people next to you is going to be other. For example, in this situation, as self, you look in your bag and you didn't find your pen, and suddenly the person is sitting next to you, immediately sensitive offers his or her pen and said that, here, use this. Next material. Say something off and on record. Even if you decide to say something, you don't have actually to ask for anything. You can perhaps, after you search through your bag, simply produce a statement below. First, oh, I forgot my pen. And the second is, I forgot where I put my pen. The example above is the example of off record because the other can act as if the statements have not even been heard. And the second is in contrast, if the speaker directly addressed the other as a means of expressing the speaker needs, it means the speaker used on record technique. For example, give me a pen and then lend me your pen. The next material is positive and negative politeness. Positive politeness is a strategy led the requester to appeal to a common goal and even friendship. Positive politeness aims to save by applying closeness and solidarity, usually in friendship, making others feel comfortable and emphasizing that both parties between speaker and speech partners have the same goal. For example, how about letting me to use your pen? And the second, hey buddy, I would appreciate it if you let me use your pen. Positive politeness gives a greater risk for the speaker of suffering a refusal and maybe preset by some getting to know you talk. And then negative politeness. Negative politeness pay attention to negative phase by applying distance between the speaker and speech partners and not disturbing each other. Speaker use it to avoid coercion and provide choice. Speech partner speaker can avoid being pushy and emphasizing the other interest by using apologize or by asking question that that give the possibility of answering no. For example, could you lend me a pen? And the second, I'm sorry to bother you, but can I ask you for a pen or something? And the last is, I know you're busy, but may I ask you um if you happen to have an extra pen for me? Thanks for that is for me, and I give it back to moderator.
Okay, thank you, Nurqalbi. Next material about strategies will be explained by Sulfitriani. Time is yours.
Okay, thank you. Next matter is strategies. Strategies, the tendency to use positive politeness forms, emphasizing closeness between speaker and hearer, can be seen as solidarity strategy. Linguistically, such a strategy will include personal information, use of nicknames, sometimes even abusive terms, particularly among males, and shared dialect or slang expression. For example, hi Fat, where you have been? I want to ask her for help. Even though the greeting sounds like insulting, it is acceptable with the interaction upon who according to him very similar or close. Okay, next. Next. Okay, next is phrase sequence. As already suggested, the concept of phrase shaping may be helpful in understanding how participants in interaction inevitably understanding more than said. The basic assumption, assumption from the perspective of politeness is that phrase is typically at risk when the self needs to accomplish something involving other. For example, rather than simply make a request, speaker will often first produce what can be described as a prerequisite. For example, are you busy? And then him say, not really. Okay, check over this memo. And then him say, okay. I think that's all for me. I will give it back to moderator. Thank you.
Okay, so that's all from our presentation. Thank you very much for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.